Right.
What did your career as a journalist bring to your writing, and what does it continue to bring?
Well, it could be, what did working in a newsroom do for the writing and for raising children? And the number one thing is the ability to block out persistent chatter. So no, I'm kidding. I listen to my children. But when when I was in a newsroom, there's really no room to be, fussy. You just have to sit down and do your job and turn it in. And generally the next day, your amazing headline or the editing or the writing or whatever you've done, the page layout, it's there. So it's an immediate reward. And you just, it's kind of like nose to the grindstone and you go. And so I do feel like maybe that carried over into the writing. Like I could just sit at my laptop and just go, and plow. I think because of those days, like it's just a matter of discipline. Don't let yourself get distracted. Put the phone away. Turn off all the little beepy things. And like I have a pretty big family, and I have an in-law family that's pretty big, and I have 3 kids. I will respond to my kids, but for the most part, I don't take phone calls. I have friends, who want to chat, and I don't do it during writing time. You just have to put up your barriers and kind of be a little selfish and just say, this is the time I've got to do this. And if you're writing full time, I mean, I know lots of people who have the 9 to 5 and then write in those stolen hours, which I have so much respect for that. I'm right now getting to write full time, and it is, I recognize how lucky I am for that. So, I have to treat it like a full time job, which means, I can't, I have to say no to things because it is writing time, and it is, as if I'm on the clock. And so, that's definitely a thing that you have to do, I think. But as far as journalism, I would say it's the ability to just kind of tell myself, suck it up, crybaby, and just sit down and write, because stuff's got to get done, and I feel like, as with anything, you kind of have this window of productivity, and you have this window of, like the minute I sold my first book, I started working on the next book, so that if anybody were to come back and say, got anything else? I could say, sure, here I do. So even right now, I'm on a series, and I just this morning in the shower doing the whole hair, I was thinking, what can I pitch them when I turn in the last manuscript? I need to have something kind of in the queue. So I'm, trying to always think of how to stay relevant. But I think if you want to do it, getting back to how much you want something, it's backside in chair and a little bit of treating it like it's your career and not like a hobby.
Makes sense to me. I've gone a little bit too, I feel, I've got a little bit too hard on myself at times, where I've been, working for 8-10 hours straight, and I haven't got out of the house, and I'm looking pale like a vampire because I haven't seen the sun for a while. Right. And my wife says, are we still married? Is this, are we talking? So I've gone through that day. On the other hand, I think of I've been teaching some local classes. I do a speaking event every year, and this will be the 4th or 5th year I'm doing it. So, knock on wood, hope they keep inviting me back. But I've got some students that come every year, and I ask them, how's your writing year been? What have you been up to? And they're like, well, I've tried a couple of things. I can't get inspired. And those are the people I want to yell at and say, no, you listen to Kate Hannigan, suck it up, babe. You get to work. That's not going to work.
I know exactly what you mean, because sometimes I've gotten to do, talks with other authors, and somebody will say, yeah, I've got 4 different projects. I like them all, and they'll tell me a little bit about them, and they sound awesome. And I'll say, well, which one's complete? None. And I'm like, here's my quotable printed on a t-shirt, Kate Hannigan, observation of life. You don't have a thing until you have a thing. So, if you don't have a finished manuscript, you don't have a thing yet. And it's really hard to revise something that is unfinished. I was lucky enough some years back to hear Richard Peck, and he talked about writing all the way through. And, he was old school. He would type his stuff on his typewriter. And he said he would finish the draft, pull out the last page, put it down, flip the manuscript over, take chapter 1 and throw it out, and redo chapter 1, because chapter 1 is the ending in disguise. So the idea that you don't know where you're going until you get there, and then you can go back through and repurpose so that there's like a new, you can lay in all those start the threads, lay in the things that where there's the great payoff at the end. So, I just really feel like for anybody out there, if you're working on a project, finish it, finish it, finish it. Turn off your editor brain, do the brain dump, just back it up, beep, 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 dump everything out, and then you got a thing. And then once you have the thing, I realize after all these years that writing is mostly revision. Get it out of your head and then revise, So you don't have a thing until you have a thing.
I will put one little caveat on that, because I have just in the course of going along to get along, I suppose, because you do meet people that just like to show up to writer events. They just like to be there. It's fun for them. They're groupies for music, but for books, and we love those people.
Sure.
Please come to conferences. Please drive down the ticket cost for the rest of us. God bless you. Take up the space. It's fine. And so if I see them 3 or 4 years and they're telling me about the story idea that they've had all along, and they just like having the idea and being able to recite it, that is the thing. And you know what? Fair enough. You go with God. You could be into so many things that aren't great, and you're into books. God bless you. So long as you keep reading and buying books, we don't have a problem. But I'm assuming that those aren't the people that are listening to this show. So let's talk a little bit of specifics. What does the Kate Hannigan making a thing schedule look like when you're writing?